Hey, it's Stack here. This is probably just gonna be a short one, and this is probably more for the beginners of Supercoach, but choosing your Supercoach team in 2023, you want the right structure. There's many different ways people do it and how it rolls, but you can never, I guess you can never really know the right structure until the year is finished, honestly. Like last year, if you had a very heavy team orientated around mid prices, you would have been laughing to the moon and back. Whereas you could have seen a year like 2019, where it was really a year of just rookies, like like Walsh and all that. I don't know if it was, I think it was the Walsh year, and then you just kind of went heavy on premiums, like your Gord and Grundy in the rucks, and then Dangerfield and Tim Kelly in the forward line. Like if correct me if that is in 2019, but yeah, picking your structure, you never, honestly, by the end of 2023, will be like, oh my god, why did I do this? Why didn't I do that? But yeah, it's an all game of chance, it's all a game of fun, and I guess one thing to do in Supercoach, especially if you're a beginner, is just start off with one of these structures that can, really help get your team. And I guess these are three little common versions, but you can always do your own version. This is just more of a guideline. So the first one we'll be looking at is just a good old classic low risk, kind of an old one, not really the one that would have won you last year, but hey, it's a new year every single year, and let's look at guns and rookies. This is a structure which is based off the cash gen around your rookies. You're not looking for any of those mid prices. You generally want either like one or maybe even none in your team, but you're primarily trying to get all your cash off rookies. And this is like if you're looking at this year and you're basically saying, hey, these rookies, I think these rookies are going to be the best thing this year. I don't see any of these mid prices making any cash or getting much places and points. This is a good structure to go towards. And on the next slide, I'll have a team that you can go see. But just running through the pros of it, it's you avoid the risk of taking these mid prices. Mid prices are always a gamble, and sometimes they don't make cash or they even regress. Like, trying to get a name off the top of my head isn't really coming to me, but some I've had mid prices that have gone backwards after buying them in, and you've had the cost of a trade to fix it, and it's just a bunch of headaches. Here we go, I got one. Last year, I had Mitch McGovern, while others had Will Brody, and even then, I was so stubborn when I traded Mitch McGovern, I traded into Tristan Zeri. And then I saw people with Will Brody just run off, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, this Guns and Rookie strat completely negates that mid-price risk. You're buying the best of the best, and then you're buying all these rookies. There's no in between. There's no gambles. It's just up there and down there. And also the good thing about just buying rookie or basing your cash in off rookies is rookies are generally cheap. 102k, 117, 123, maybe even the Will Ashcroft, which could be another Walsh or Rail in the making. So yeah, the good thing about this setup is you can make cash a lot quicker than mid prices if it is a year for rookies, guns and rookies. But you're really banking on the rookies having a good year, and that's one of the cons. One of the cons is, if the rookies turn out pretty average, like we only get Ashcroft and McKenzie, and all the other ones are in and out, then your cash flow is just gonna dry up so fast in the squad. You're really gonna need rookies, defense, mid, forward, ruck, all to be playing at least play like the first 6, 7 rounds and make you a ton of cash because if they're getting dropped after 2 or 3 games, then this structure can fall apart super fast. That's as you can see down there. And one of the pros is when you have your premiums, if you choose your right premium, if you get the premiums right at the start, you're ahead of the comp because you don't need to do all these sideways trades. You don't need to do all these cash ups. If you pick the top six, if you pick the best three defenders in the defense line, then you don't need to worry about trading them in throughout the year. Which is good about this guns and rookies because you will be getting lots of premiums in your team early on, and if you pick them right, you'll be in a good spot for your team. Otherwise, as you can see in the cons, if you've picked premiums that are constantly getting injured or underperforming, not only do you have to use that trade for the rookies of cash gen, you're also gonna have to use it to start trading your guns around. So this strategy, it's very good in a year where rookies are really well and you do pick the good premiums, but it's one of those strategies or structures which can fall apart very, very fast if you just if you haven't picked the right guns and the right rookies. So an example of what this team will look like for 2023. if I did a Guns and Rookies, is this. As you can see, starting off the defensive line, I've got Sicily, Dawson, and Dacos. Three guns, three people I'm pretty confident with. Oh, as a Geelong supporter, I was if I could find a way to shuffle around 100 grand, maybe one of these guys. But I think Dacos, 19, he's putting on a couple more kilos. I think he's gonna get some midfield minutes. I was pretty happy with the squad, and I swapped Sicily out because the 20k can be a big difference. But if I'm buying D1 this year, I think Sicily will be D1, Dawson D2, and then it's between Stewart or Dacos at D3, D4. I'm optimistic this guy's D1, D2, and then we've got Dacos for D3 with Stewart also contesting. So this is why for Guns and Rookies, this is my defense premiums. I'm pretty confident with that. And then my rookies, obviously for January these aren't set, but this is what it'll look like in a Guns and obviously these ones can change, but this is what the three premiums would look like. Now going over here at the midfield, obviously with Guns and Rookies, I'm trying to predict the top five. These are who I've got. Maybe Andrew Brayshaw here, or who's the other one? Jack McRae. But at the moment, this is my prediction for the top five midfielders this year. Not much weakness, you wouldn't have to bank on Jacob Hopper. You wouldn't be put it on Flanders or Dom Sheed or anyone that I mentioned in the last video. Very interesting, but you can see it's like all it takes is like Darcy Parish to have an injury, and then like Sin or Phillips or McKenzie not to turn out too flash as we thought they would, and then you're in all sorts of trouble. So yeah, but the midfield looks very, very good in Guns and Rookies structure. You look at that and you're like, wow, it's going to come out scoring. You have a captain option every week. Same for the ruck line, played around with the Brody Grundy English structure. Brody Grundy, even with Gorn, if he's getting 50-50 ruck time, and he looks fitter now, I don't see him going back to his 130, 125, but nothing is to say he can't go 105, 110 average range. So even then, that still classifies him as a gun, especially with the R2 looking so weak this year. Like English, I'm pretty optimistic. He's a 115 to 120 if he stays fit for all 22. R2 this year looks so weak. Like if Grundy goes 105 average, I'd be ecstatic. For 512k, a 105 average in ruck this year would be good, because I just don't see any rucks doing that well. So yeah, in Guns and Rookies, he is the gun. Now going down to defensive line, it's a bit different from the team I have now. Like this team I created just for the Guns and Rookies page, but I personally not a big fan of the forward rookies this year, and this is where this strategy falls apart. Because you see this, you got Dunkley, Rosie, Taranto, like most people, but because you funded so heavily into the midfield, you could even chop one of these guys out, put another midfield rookie on, and do another forward premium. But for 604k, what are you gonna get? Canelio, Isaac Heaney? Nah, you'd be stupid to do that. So this is where the structure has its particular weakness, because then you're seeing Ben King, who's my one mid-pricer in this team. Even then he's cheaper than the other rookie, but can you really say Ben King is who you want? So although I do like the prospect of getting all these midfielders, ruck, stacking up that D, even then D's not different balanced. It's mainly just that midfield, So Guns and Rookies, you can play around with it. You can stack Primos here, stack Primos there. But your main idea is you really want no mid prices. You just want all your money put into the best of the best, and then some Primos. It's a good strategy, but I'm not too big of a fan of it. And I'll be going on to the structure that I'll most likely be using this year, which is this, like the Supercoach Average Joe, the stock standard, which is a good spread of rookies, mid prices, and premiums, making sure the structure gets the best of both worlds. Practically meaning you will be with the Supercoach herd, and every single year we've seen it. People can just either fall behind, or if they take a gamble on too many players, and then you just get yourself stuck into a whirlwind. Like I tried following a lot of the pro picks, like Mitch McGovern and all that, and then I shied away from some of the casual picks like Sicily and Brody. And even though I know some pro players picked him up, but I shied away from him because I was like, oh, it's not from what the main voice of Supercoach's heard is, and then that's it. put yourself behind and then you're on the back pedal whole season. So yeah, the Supercoach average though, it's good. It does have its fallbacks though, because sometimes you just can fall victim to those rare picks popping up and taking over. But yeah, it's a Supercoach average though, stock standard pick every single year, still does the job. You buy a good mix of safe premiums and risky ones to catch value. The mid prices can, when you're picking your mid prices in this structure, you're not really trying to get quantity. You're trying to really get quality. You don't want to pick. You don't want to gamble your mid prices. You want to pick the right ones. Like I did. I should have got Hewitt and Sicily. I got lucky on Wits. If you're using this structure where you're having very small man mid prices, you do need to be picking the right ones. If you do pick the right ones, you could offset any difference that really risky structures get on you. I'll tell you what a risky structure is next one, but if you have that dominant picks on the mid prices, you won't fall behind. And if you're picking the right rookies as well, you'll get the best of both worlds. You'll be covering not only the guns and rookie players, but the gamblers with all the mid prices. So yeah, Supercoach Average Joe is probably the best setup because if you've done the right rookies, you've done the right mid prices, you get the best of both worlds. You'll stay with the herd, and eventually with cash gen and just with overall point scoring, you'll eventually start to overlap some of those risky teams. Now, that's what I've said here, the horde, the common structure. Now, and that's the thing too. If people have made it back and you can make it back, and even if it fails, a majority of the comp will suffer with you. And then if those people that, did get ahead because they got some good picks that, weren't with the majority, then you can start playing catch up. And because there's such a large majority playing catch up with you, you only have to catch a small percentile. But if you can catch up to them, it'll be a big thrill. Now, this is what my current team is, the current one, as I'm following this structure where I have a good balance of rookies, mid prices, and premiums. And yeah, this is my current team. Now, I've got Stewart there because as this team stands, I can't have the balance, but I'm actually $1,000. I only got $1,000 in my balance. I do, and I've got a little bit of a bias with Stewart. I think he can be a captain option. Sicily's got consistency, but Stewart's got the ceiling, so I'd still like to flick him to Sicily because I think Sicily is that consistent player, but I have no problem with him there at the moment, especially in this balanced team. Now, there's not much difference between the Guns and Rookies defense and my current defense for this average template, except I got Connor McKenna, who's you could almost just justify putting him in the other one because he's almost a rookie, but for the sake of it, yeah, I can only really justify Ben King because it's a lot easier to find defense rookies this year than there is to find forward rookies. The forward rookies are dry, and that's why I'll explain why I've got so many of these guys there in a second. But yeah, this is my semi-balanced backline. I got the one gamble there, but not even really gamble. I think he's just clean, so pretty happy with that defensive line. Now the midfield, pretty similar to the Guns and Rookies, except instead of having Parrish, I've saved a bit of value and got some Jacob Hopper. And rookies pretty much stay the same, maybe some, but they're all placeholders at the moment. But yeah, taking Jacob Hopper over Darcy Parish not only saves me some cash to fix some other areas, it also, he could, under New Richmond outfit, he could hopefully be top 8, but a bit of a stretch, but I can see him easily making 150 grand. This is the thing about Hopper too. I've sat with him and I kind of want a reason to not have him. I'm looking for reasons, but unless something over the preseason says he will not even get 150k, I don't see a reason you can't flick him off. But at the moment, in this Supercoach average template, just grab him. You want to stay with the herd. You want to stay with everyone else. If he fails, only a small amount of people will get the one up on you. If he succeeds and you're one of those small people that gambled against him, you're gonna have to be chasing 80% of the competition. Now, same ruck line actually. I've decided to cash up on English and Brody. Same reasons as before. I think English is a safe 115 to 20. He is growing with age. He is getting better. If he can stay fit, that would be marvelous. And I see the argument for Darcy Cameron or Rowan Marshall, but I'm more confident in terms of history with Brodie Grundy, and I think although having Gorney's team, it takes him away from the 130, 120, I just don't see no reason he can't go 110, especially if he's like, he looks fit in the Melbourne pitches. He looks ready to go for another season. He's probably angry. He's probably been humbled by Collingwood, you know. He got that $1 million contract and probably 40 was on top of the world. And now he's probably been humbled, been traded like that. You know, he needs to get his public image back to a good standard. So I think he's going to come out firing this year. And even if he doesn't go back to 2018, 2019 form, a 105 to 110 average from a 5 from Grundy, I would be bloody happy with that one. Now, the forward line, very different from the one before. You see, we got the big three. Then you have Sam Flanders, Oscar Allen, Toby McLean, and Ben King. Wow, those bottom three right there, even four, look so much better than what I had in the Guns and Rookies team. Like, of course, I like the idea of having Parrish over Hopper, and but they've seen like players like McKenna or Flanders, Allen, McLean, and Ben King look so much better in the side. Not only will have to skip scores from these rookies that will sit here, I also get the benefit of cash gen, which I believe Oscar Allen and McLean will generate so much more than what meets the eye from some of those other rookies. Where I see like 102k forward rookie making like 100 grand, maybe 120. I can see McLean get up to 400 grand, maybe him equally 390. Still better because it's like 180, but yeah. So this structure, it's the structure I'm gonna be fine with my team this year. I think it's just a bit more balanced, and with some really good mid prices, I don't see any reason to do guns and rookies. But hey, each to their own. Who knows? Preseason might change our minds, but and also it's a different year every year. No one knows the future. But at the moment, from what we've got in the information, everything, I think just a solid little structure of a good spread for premiums, rookies, obviously mid prices, will just be the way to go this year. But if you're looking for something a little bit more different, a little bit, on the dangerous side, maybe you're really, really optimistic about these mid prices this year and you think, frick, man, I don't see any of them going wrong, and I feel like I could just get ahead of the whole competition and stay ahead. This is the structure for you. It's basically the opposite of the previous two, and you're banking on mid prices, and you're hoping like all these rookies like Mackenzie or I think you'll still get Ashcroft in this team, but maybe some of these 123Ks like Oscar Baker or Josh Sin, you just like, I hope these like players just burn or get dropped after a round. And then all these teams are stuck with dead rookies. And then this is where this strategy flies. And that's the thing, like I've said, the pros, you can get such a big gap in the competition if it does pay off. A gap that sometimes can't even be closed by the best of the best. But that's banking that everything goes right. Although, and that comes with the con. If it does go, pairs up, these mid prices, they're getting injured or they're not going as good as you thought, you won't catch up. You'll have to cut your Supercoach year early. Whoops, oh wait, no, it's back. You'll cut your Supercoach year super, super early. So, a little bit of a risky one, and I'm excited to show it to you, but yeah, one I won't be doing, but seen some people chuck it around. I got a couple of mates who are probably going to follow this strategy, so yeah, time to go with it. Let's go with the die will be cast. A quote also said by Julius Caesar, and fits into the structure and strategy. Once you go with it, once that lockout happens and you got this team, there's no going back. You either are in it to win it or in it to lose it. You don't go back. Once you've thrown that dice, the big gamble, you're in it to win it, or you're in it to just quit after round 3. So yeah, let's have a look at the team. Bit of a fun one. I had a little bit of fun creating this, but yeah, this is just a gamble. Hey, could it go right? It sure could. I've got my Tom Stewart and Nick Dacos again. You don't want to not have primos. You still need captain options, and you still need at least some value. Like, that's why I've got Miller and Bont and English and Dunkley and even Stewart. But you're mainly chasing the idea of value, and you're gambling on the fact of like, you Hunter Clark and Bose here beats out players like Chesser or Connor McKenna. You're just trying to I should have maybe done this. I would probably swap Jack Bose for Connor McKenna. So just imagine that's Connor McKenna instead of Jack Bose. But you get the idea. These are all mid prices. And then I could have easily used that 100k and got like a Grundy, but we'll leave it for now. This is what an example of a really gambling team does. And you can see where it could take off, It's not impossible. Elliot Yo, Hunter Clark could all be different. Jack Bowes or Connor McKenna could get to like a 70, 80 average, make a couple hundred grand. Maybe one of these three can become wouldn't say top six. Oh, if Elliot Yo really gets back to it, I could see him as a top six, but he's got to stay fit, and that's hard for him. So risky, but hey, it could do it. And then you look here, you got Took Miller, Bontempelli, basically your safe ones. And then you got the fun excited three, LDU, Chad Warner, and Tom Mitchell. Boy, I could see LDU and C Warner either one rising to the mantle of a top 8 spot. Only one of them. I don't see how both of them get in, especially with the caliber of Oliver and Brayshaw and Parrish. But one of them could make the rise, and then you got Tom Mitchell, and then you got Hopper, Domsheet, Ashcroft, and all you're trying to do here is hopefully one of these pans out, one of these three. The other two will score, considerably enough that you might be able to hold on to them till a very late point into a swap. Or best case scenario, all three of them somehow go nuts and other premiums start falling off. Unlikely, but hey, there is a world for it. And the other point of difference over the rest of the competition is if you've got Hopper and Dom Sheed as your M6, M7, Evan Ashcroft as an M8, you'll basically be scoring more than people who will have probably like Mackenzie or Will Phillips in those spots. And if these two players are probably going 50 average, and these ones in these positions are going like 70, and then you got Hopper probably going 80, and these guys somehow go like really good years and go 10 or 105, sorry. Somehow Warner has a rise and goes 105, 110, LDU 110. Then you've basically just got an extra probably 10, 15 points per. These guys would probably match the rest of the comp. But over your rookies, you probably get an extra 30 points a week in the earlier weeks. And if you started to do this in some of the other areas, like Ruck, you probably wouldn't beat the Guns and Rookie strategy. You'd take the gamble on Meek for money. But the forward line could be a big, big, big difference. You got Josh Dunkley, Darcy Cameron, Fife, Oscar Allen, McLean, and Ben King. Points you could probably match, maybe even grow on some teams, especially if they are fielding a rookie here. But the biggest thing is cash gen. This strat, it is a lot of cash gen, and you can flick the primos very quickly. But if your mid prices do pan out and they are scoring well and they are doing good cash, then you're gonna be in a good spot. But yeah, if you get a couple of these mid prices to come up to primo status, this structure could definitely work and could put you onto the radar for a top 1,000 finish. Although, if you do not play your trades right in this one, you will just drop out of that very luxurious spot. So if you're playing right and you do have the right idea, then you can stay there. But this strategy is very, very risky. Like I said, once you start it, there's no going back. You've only got 30 trades. You can't keep flicking a lot of these players off. You're making a big gamble. See it for some people. If you want to have fun this year, go for it. If you want to win your Supercoach league with mates, it's definitely a good one. But for rankings, I think it's just too much of a risk to do. So I'm pretty happy with the idea of this being my team so far. A little bit of swaps. Obviously, it's going to change. And I hope to, make another video explaining maybe different things like premiums I'm really looking at this year or rookies. But yeah, I hope this video has helped, you guys maybe decide a structure. If there was a structure I didn't mention, don't be afraid to come tell me, or don't be afraid to write it in the comments below. Like, we all have, some people might go a lot of, premiums and defense and then go completely cheap in the forward line. Or some people might do guns and rookies, but they might cash up their whole forward line with premiums and then do a crap ton of rookies in the midfield because they see all these guys going ham. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you guys do and what structures you're probably going to go with this year. But yeah, I'm hoping to make another video for you guys. I've just got back from holiday and thought I'd pump this one out just because I was thinking about it over the last couple of days, and I thought it'd be really cool to talk to you guys about. But yeah, hopefully a good Supercoach season 2023. I hope to make more videos now that I'm back, and yeah, Wishing you guys a good preseason, and training should be starting soon, so we'll get more news and hopefully more updates later. Love you guys. Stack out.